So
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Hello, everyone. This is Dream Drop Distance. One of the games in the Cage series.
It is a game. It is from the Cage series. That is true. It has a 3 in its name.
This is pretty much Cage 3. This is the game that Square Enix trolled everyone with. And they're like, hey, it's Cage 3. Except it's not Cage 3, it's Cage 3D.
Cage free, but in a 3D environment. But hey, that already happened. So yeah, it starts off very well. It starts off with us having to fight Ursula for whatever reason. It's a pretty straightforward fight. There are a few patterns she can give you. The best pattern you can get is when she tries to grab you, because that way you can just whack away at her without her really being able to put a threat.
Yeah.
Put up a threat. Okay.
So, funny enough, this is the only... This is like the first actual Cage game where you fight Ursula. Because Recom isn't actually a game, it's a card game. We're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! This time we get to play Pokemon. We're just going through the gambit, really.
So my monitor just screwed up. Stop, so I have to play through OBS now.
Oh, that is
Well, it's fine. At least I have the OBS. So yeah, right now we're diving into the world. That's how we enter the world in this game. We dive into them. We dive into dreams, and then we basically what we play becoming into this world. Yeah, in this game. First one, they're all very fast. Oh my god! Oh wow! I've never done that before. Then I'm watching the flow motion tutorial because I pressed X on accident.
oh god.
Please let
You
me.
know you can exit it, right?
No, you can't exit it. Oh my god!
You can't
please.
exit the flow motion tutorial?
Nope. You have to watch it.
What? That is...
Wait.
Just press start and exit.
Wait. Yeah. Okay. Now there we go. Okay. I couldn't exit it right away. I was actually confused for a second. I've never seen this tutorial in my life. Not
So-
even character, I didn't even know how to do it.
So, while tutorials are all well and good for new players, we typically don't want to watch them to speedrun except for these first couple tutorials for Sora, because if you just exit the fight, it continues the story. And I just watched a flashback. And you're able to move on with the game, and it saves you the time from having to watch the fight fade out and all of that stuff, so it's typically faster to watch those little tutorials right there. So right here we're making our first Dream Eater, the Meow Wow, one of the most iconic Dream Eaters. Showed up in Cage 3. Oh, I got Smart Cookie.
Oh wow, getting blue eyes, imagine.
Yeah.
So therefore,
So-
each Dream Eater can have. We want specific dispositions. Zan got the right one, just as I. I got Smart Cookie as well. So no good RNG for you, sir. I'm following the trailer.
Right? Good RNG is for suckers. So we're pretty much learning how to play with the Dream Eaters here. So we just get to pet them a little bit.
You guys know
this
the
is-
Pendox?
Yeah. This is the only part of the game in which playing with your Dream Eater actually is impossible to change the disposition.
Mm-hmm.
So every time you pet or you poke your Dream Eater, it has a chance of changing its disposition. So there are certain ways to manipulate what like if we get the wrong disposition, there's ways to manipulate to where we get the right that we want to use. But anyway, we're gonna go to the 3rd district here, site of the Guard Armor 1 fight. Well, just Guard Armor.
But we're not actually gonna fight God Armor.
Yeah. So, in this game, much like Recom, actually, we play as both Sora and Riku, except it's all in one story, and we don't have to load up a completely different story to play as Riku. This game introduces the dive system, in which you get pretty much limited time with both characters, but you're able to swap between them freely. And I hit a card.
So, my technical difficulties are resolved now, so I can play on monitor again. There are a total of 2 Dream Eaters where the disposition matter, but we both think both of us are gonna get 4 Dream Eaters in total during the run. We're gonna get the tutorial Meow, then with Riku we're gonna get the tutorial Komori Bat, and then we're gonna get 2 optional ones, which are gonna be Tama Sheep, and another one later on, which I'm not gonna talk about just yet. Might be a little bit of a surprise for some, how we're gonna get it and just getting it in general.
I am messing up these cuts. I've been playing way too much random. I forgot how bad cutscene skipping is in this game.
Yeah. So about cutscene skipping here, there's such a huge delay on cutscene skipping that you want to just hold down constantly on your D-pad or on your analog stick, doesn't really matter, and then mash start until the skip cutscene prompt appears, and then mash X once it scrolls down. It's really weird. Okay, I got... Oh god, what is purple?
Aggro, I think. You poke its face, regardless of what it's
aggro.
If it's regardless of what its disposition is, for Komori Bat, if you get the wrong one, you just poke its face.
Yep. What did you get?
I got Rescuer.
Oh wow! Imagine getting good RNG.
Yeah, I got the right disposition. We want both Meow and Komori Bat to have blue eyes because it makes them better Dream Eaters overall. So there we just gotta talk with some The World Ends With You characters. No idea why they're here. I think Nomura just wanted to experiment. So we just gonna skip right by them.
I got the thingy.
I messed up. So right there, you're supposed to flow motion off of that wall, then instantly press X to hit the panel. I did not do that, so that's what caused that to happen. Right now, before we do anything, we're gonna pick up some chests, get some items that we're gonna sell, so that way we have enough money to play with our Dream Eaters a bit.
So
there's also some new areas in Traverse Town this time around.
The mailbox actually has a purpose now outside of eating your mails. We're gonna get a few items, as Zan just said. We're gonna get items to get water barrels so that we can play more of our Dream Eaters, get more abilities, and especially Dream Eater abilities like Magic Haste. Magic Haste and Magic Boost is what we're really out for. Magic Haste increases our reload speed for magic commands, and Magic Boost just gives us a +1 on magic. We can get up to 3 magic boosts. I think we're gonna get 2. Oh, we're gonna get 3. No, we're gonna get 3.
Yes.
And we are gonna get all 5 possible magic hastes. As you see, the most... So, DDD introduced flow motion. I watched a tutorial for it, by the way. That's what I watched the tutorial for. Flow motion is like a curse and a blessing. It kind of kills the platforming, but introduces a completely new level of platforming if you're trying to do it effectively. This is by far the most movement-heavy game in the entire series. If you want to speedrun it, this is the most movement-heavy speedrun. You have to... There's pretty strict movement for every single room in the entire game. And you don't have... You can figure a lot of them out, like, just by what's logical to do. But some of them are a little bit counterintuitive and look a bit weird. Not as easy to perform all the time.
I am messing it up terribly.
You're good, don't worry about it.
No, I'm not.
Okay, so now we're going to the first shop. We're gonna get a few of those. Selling all but Blizzard, Balloon for obvious reasons. We're gonna keep Blizzard, Balloon. We're also gonna keep Rampant Figments. We're gonna sell Rampant Fantasy. sell Vibrant Fantasy, sell Troubling Fantasy, and sell this balloon to buy 2 Vibrant Figments and as many water barrels as we can. It's 19, that's good enough. And now I'm gonna create the 3rd Dream Eater, which is gonna be Tamashi. We're not gonna create it from a recipe, but we're just gonna mix together the materials, the figments themselves, and that'll create Tamashi. The disposition doesn't matter, but if you get blue eyes, you lose half a second. I got blue eyes, I'm gonna lose half a second. Because it takes a little longer for the upgrade path, the ability link to spawn in, as it has an extra node now. I'm gonna quickly edit the team.
I forgot about
And Pokemon got until he's a rescue. I'm just gonna mash X until he changes his disposition. Hopefully it doesn't take long. In my practice runs earlier, it took ages to change dispositions, and I didn't have a single run with both blue eyes.
Ooh, I
Oh, there
got
we go, rescue. It didn't take long. Okay, now we're gonna use a bunch of water barrels. I hope I don't have to use all 20, but if I do, it's not too bad, because later on, in about an hour, we need 1 more water barrel. However, the good thing is, we are guaranteed to get 1 water barrel after this entire section, so we don't have to really think about it too much. Right now, we're just gonna, just like cutscene skipping, we're just gonna mash start until we can skip cutscenes, hold down on the D-pad, and press X once we can skip the water barrel. If you play the 3DS version, you can actually not skip this minigame, which makes it a lot worse. You hear that beautiful soundtrack, and you have to play through this minigame over and over and over. You do get more link points for it, but it does waste a lot more time. However, the 3DS also has the advantage that it has the AR cards, which means new game can have Meowjesty, I think Pseudoneku, and whatever the 3rd one is, I don't know.
First step. Also, Ursus Cyclops is one of the AR cards.
Okay, so I roughly need 16 to 18 water barrels. 16 is like the low end. You usually need more than that.
Also, even though I started out saying Meow is probably one of the most iconic Dream Eaters, we're actually not going to have him in our main party at any point in this week. Maybe near the end if we're feeling frisky.
Yeah, near the end, I actually like having Meow after the combat used in Country of the Musketeers, the 2nd one against the Zola fans. After that, I put in Meow because he deals more damage than Tamashi. And Tamashi just puts enemies to sleep, and that's it. Or tries to, at least.
Yeah, we just use Kamori Bat and Tamashi throughout the run because together they come up with a link attack for Sword called Comet, which does a ton of damage and is really good for just quickly clearing some mob fights later on.
Oops. Okay, so I don't have enough link points with Komori Bat just yet. I'm missing 14 because he needs 310.
I'm just using all my water barrels. I'm old-fashioned. Not my luck.
Before
We're
first.
still not gonna have enough.
And Meow needs 320. Let's see how much we got. Oh, nice. My OBS is reconnecting now.
Oh, that's
back in a second.
awesome.
It's going to be back in a second. Don't worry about it. It's just an auto disconnect that always happens at around this time. Okay, Meow needs another 3 points as well. After OBS comes back, though, it will stay there. So no panic.
So there is a little trick you can do here when you're opening up other paths. If you mash L2 or R2 to try and skip the
Dasa.
Hmm?
Your stream dropped.
I know. I just talked about it. It's so in Germany, depending on what internet provider you are, there's a law that just resets your internet every 24 hours for whatever reason, and it just now came back. So we'll have footage in a second. It's all good.
I'm just reading
It's a
right
planned
now.
thing.
Oh, thank you. I thought it was another one. I'm like, no.
No. I would have reacted a little bit differently. Okay.
So here we get to fight the first boss of the game, Hako Monkey.
Yeah,
I
just got him done while you guys were missing the footage.
Oh yeah, and in this game is actually the first to introduce the ability to skip opening cutscenes for bosses. So we're able to, every single boss in this game, we're able to skip that opening cutscene, which usually takes a second and waste a little bit of time. But that's pretty much Hako Monkey. You saw there the power of the balloon spell. Probably one of the most broken spells in KH history.
And this isn't even its full use yet.
Yeah, that's
even better. So, Zen, are you going for 6 balloon rush or 5 balloon rush?
6 balloon rush.
Okay.
Listen, I'm old-fashioned. Everything.
I mean, my 5 balloon route, to be fair, I didn't even test it before today. I was like, I remember theorizing that, so I just tested it, and it saves a lot of time. It does make fights a lot less brain dead, because you actually have to scroll through a command deck instead of mashing triangle. But it saves quite a bit of time.
Yeah, probably. But we're diving into Pranks' Paradise here now. Getting an A rank on the dive in Pranks' Paradise, that actually gives you a free balloon rush, which we really like, because it means it's one balloon run we get sooner.
Exactly.
So, as long as you don't screw up this dive, you too can get a free balloon of your choosing. After this dive though is where Dessa and I's routes are going to diverge a little bit.
Exactly. So we need to enter this world anyway, so we might as well do it right away to get the balloon out of our way and get into our pockets. So the difference here is something that came up not too long ago. You don't actually need 6 balloon rush throughout the route, but you can use it for a more comfortable route. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave the road right away, and Zan is gonna get an item called Malibu Fantasy inside of the Ferris gear that's on that map, which it takes some extra time to get, but again, it allows you to buy an extra balloon round. It makes the shopping a lot easier as well, because for me right now, the shopping is gonna be a little bit tight. But not too tight. Yep. We're now gonna fight our first dive boss, which is Brawlamari. Brawlamari is there are 2 dive bosses, and each character has to fight each dive boss once. Sora has to fight Brawlamari first, Riku does it later. Riku has to fight a different boss called Queen Butterfly, and Sora has to fight her later. The first versions are all pretty easy. 2 cycle on Brawlamari is consistent, 1 cycle on Queen Butterfly is almost always consistent. However, the second fights both have pretty difficult strategies and a little bit luck based on saving an entire cycle. It's not easy to save that cycle, but it does save like 50 seconds on the second Brawlamari fight, and I'm gonna say 30 and the Queen Butterfly fight, but we'll get to those a little bit later because they're still a little bit in the future. So now we're in the grid, Space Paranoids for DDD players, or KH2 players rather. And the grid changed a lot. It's a lot different from Space Paranoids. There isn't really any reoccurring room in this world. what we're gonna do, we're actually gonna abuse the flow motion even more than we did in other worlds. For example, just now you saw me sliding down that slope without using flow motion. But I was still in a flow motion state, but I didn't actually use it, so I can dash once. In flow motion, you can dash once before that dash is pretty much used up, quote unquote. And to dash again, you'd either have to land and restart flow motion, or hit an object that you can slow motion off. For example, a rail, a pole, or a wall. Which means I wanted to save that dash. That way I can dash right into the exit. As you can see, the landing lag is pretty bad. So we're trying to minimize the landing lag of both the wall jumps as well as the dashes. If possible, we try to not always dash again, because if you don't hit a wall, you will have that landing lag. But the dash is super fast until like the last third of the game where we gain access to a different ability, but we're gonna elaborate on that later when we actually get there. You can also see right here, I jumped to that ballooner chest. This is a ballooner chest, by the way. Flow motion is just this fast, that it's faster than just conventional dodge rolling. Way faster. Dodge rolling is so slow compared to flow motion that you don't even need to really think about if you want to use this or that. 99% of the time, if you can flow motion, do it. It's gonna be faster. The hitboxes for flow motion are also a little bit wonky at times, but you do get used to them, where, for example, on that box, for example, usually we would see it and be like, wait, you can't flow motion off of that, or at least the position that I had, because it looked like I was above it, but the hitboxes kind of extend over the actual models. Okay, so I have Overcast ready for Sora late. Oh, I actually have Overcast right now, so I can talk about it now. So there's weather in this game. Weather changes pretty much how the game is played to some degree. You can have normal weather, which means nothing happens. You can have price weather, where more prices drop. Bargain flurry, which is going to be important later, so we're going to explain that later. And what I got now, and what we want for pretty much every single world going through this run, is called Overcast. Overcast increased our magic damage output by 20%, which is unbelievably strong if you think about it. 20% bonus on something that we can spam this much. It's really good. It speeds up many fights significantly, and in some worlds it actually allows us to go for slightly different strats. Or it makes, for example, DM skips a lot easier in some instances. Which DMs, they were talking about in Cage 1 already, but we're gonna talk about it again. DMs are desperation moves. When enemies, if you don't play them crit, get to low health, they use some kind of move that usually wastes a lot of time. And you don't want to see it. Same goes for DDD, and Overcast gives us a higher chance of being able to skip those moves. Also, what I'm doing right here is a little bit of a side... Oh, it didn't spawn. Interesting. A little bit of a side grind. Because damage scaling does not only go off your magic set, it also directly is influenced by your level. You can have 20 magic on level 1 or 20 magic on level 99. You will deal different damage. And another thing I'm going to do now is just a safety precaution. In case I don't have a bargain flurry later for Riku, I want to give myself one more chance for it by touching the safety. It wastes a little bit of time, but that's just to... maybe not waste as much time in the relay. Now, Hoka Monkey 2. This fight is bad because he flies around a lot, and you don't really have many ways of reaching him outside of the Lura. So we want to try and get this reality shift on him. Reality shifts, if you deal enough damage to bosses or a chance for normal enemies, they do it so that your... Give me a second. They make it so that you can basically alter reality, and you can, for example, fling away the enemy, as I did just now. You can hack the enemy into grid. You can do all kinds of stuff. Every single word has its own little reality shift. Okay, I have to quickly swap footage for a second because I forgot to mute something. There, I changed. Okay. Just have to quickly swap over. So now with Riku, we're gonna do the same thing as the store. We're gonna quickly enter Prankster's Paradise. But not to grab an item, but with Riku, we're actually gonna grind for a split second.
Oh my
We're gonna quickly enter because, again, we have to enter this world anyway, so might as well do it now. Oh, bad. Oh boy. And while going towards the next save point, we can also grind a little bit. This little grind gives us 1 level up as well as a little bit of magic, making both the grid and Citated Cloche, which that what we didn't see yet, a little bit faster. Not by a lot, but a little. It definitely makes them nicer. Okay. Okay. So, in Prankster's Paradise, on Riku's side you aren't in the actual theme park, but you're inside a monster like in KH1, which is interesting to see Riku in Praver Riku monster. And we're gonna get this chest, because there are a few chests that you want to get with high-priced items. One of them is something that Zan got in Prankster's Paradise, Malleable Fantasy. I got the Charming Fantasy, which that one is a lot faster than the Malleable Fantasy. He will get that one as well, but in my case, I was not going for the for the Malleable Fantasy, as it takes longer to get it. Should be. I thought there should have been another enemy along. Oh wait, right. I didn't defeat the enemies in Traverse Town. Okay, I'm gonna get another one later. So this was a little bit of a grind. I messed it up a little, but it's not too bad.
So, like how previously I said that Dessa and I's routes converge, I do slightly different routing. I don't really go for the grinding in Pranksters. I just, like, the time save really isn't all that huge, so I just elect to skip it.
Exactly, the time save isn't even guaranteed. So in the end, it's a little bit of runner's preference. This is Riku's first back post, by the way, Queen Butterfly. And one cycle is very consistent on her, but she can mess you up a little bit. Doesn't happen all that often, but it worked out this time.
I got actually trolled by this stupid bee.
Oh,
so
alright, isn't it the anniversary of Kingdom Hearts today? 29th of March?
Today's the 27th of March.
28th. The 28th for me. Or is that gonna happen on the PC release? I'm not actually sure right now when that's gonna be.
It might be the JP anniversary. I know English anniversary is July 31st.
Oh, okay, then it might be the JP one.
So, Dessa and I have a very long history with this game.
That is true. So, you want to go about it?
So,
just like
I started a very long time ago, back when this game was first released on PS4. I started with any percent Worked a lot towards optimizing it. Dessa eventually got into it. And then we decided to start going for more completion categories. I started doing 100%, 100% new game plus, and then Dessa and I ran into Plat. And oh boy, Plat RTA is something to behold. If you have never watched Plat RTA this game, you really should.
Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting. It isn't nearly as bad as people might think it is, because there are a lot of things that people assume you have to do that you just don't actually have to. Like, for example, Julius? No, you don't ever see him in a Plat run, which is a really weird thing to say, but Julius is 100% optional for it. There's no trophy for him, and there's no trophy tied to him either. He's not even in the report.
He's not even in the journal.
Yeah, not even in the
So,
journal.
I thought I was Sora for a second, so I went Sora's direction in this War Girl section. Oh, did I touch the save point? Oh no, I didn't.
Oh, so something we wanted to do here in Hunchback is we touch the save point after we hit the town. We go to the church, have a cutscene there, then go back to the town and touch the save point there to save walk. Because if you don't touch the save point, you have to walk back, and that takes a while. Yeah, you're gonna see Zan having to do that right now, unfortunately.
It gives me more time to talk about Plat. But, with Desta and I routing Plat, you know, every single time one of us would do a run, during that run, one of us would come up with a new strat. There's a string of like 5 Plat runs in a row between me and Dessa, just trading world records of just like, what if we did this instead? And I was looking.
Like, oh yeah, Ducky Goose.
Yeah, in one of Dessa's runs, I was looking at some dream readers and looking at what we could do to potentially, you know, have to do the ability ace trophy, which Plat is typically run on beginner, and then we just go dip into proud to get the ability ace trophy. And I look at it and I'm like, Dessa, we can make ducky geese. He's like, how many? And I'm like, I don't know, like 16. And so we just have this army of ducks ready at the ready when we go into New Game Plus for Proud. And it's just, it's ridiculous.
It's
how
beautiful.
we also create a bunch of horses, some eagles. It's pretty.
We have like 9 Pegaslicks, 6 of those eagles. We have 16 Ducky Geese. It's pretty interesting. The original route was just all Proud mode, and it was terrible. It was hard to run. You actually had to get good at the game until you realize, wait, beginner's enough. Let's not torture ourselves anymore.
I just love that I just heard Xantet say army of ducks. That's the best thing I've heard all night.
Listen, if you don't use an army of ducky geese to just annihilate a bunch of dream eaters, oh, I'm about to get tossed.
I mean, I believe it. In 2FM, we use a duck to annihilate in-game. So,
Listen, Kingdom Hearts teaches us anything. That ducks are OP, and we should bow down to them with our overlords.
oh my god, we need a Mighty Ducks world. That's a Disney franchise, isn't it? Like the Mighty Ducks movies?
Isn't there also
It
like
needs to happen.
Darkwing Duck and all that? Darkwing Duck, that's it.
DuckTales. Ooh. But the only completion category for DDD that requires you to, I just opened a chronicle. That's awesome. The only completion category of DDD that requires you to actually beat the secret boss Julius is 100% new game. And the only reason you need to do that is because he drops a Keyblade that you need for one of the in-game trophies. It is the most ridiculous thing, and you need to beat him with both Sora and Riku. So it's a lot.
To come back to the run, by the way, because now we entered the grid of Riku. There is the light cycle. We didn't get to see that in 2FM, unfortunately. But now we get to see the not as fun version in DDD, where we have to basically pump is what we call it. We press square to change modes all the time, as changing from assault mode to the, I'd call it the drive mode or rail mode, allows us to get a little bit of a speed boost. And something I figured out earlier today is that a very good timing for this is actually the beat of the song in the background. If you just follow the beat of the song in the background, you shouldn't be able to really mistime it.
Yeah, and also something, the grid dive is the easiest dive in the game. You get past the first 2 obstacles and then just stay at the bottom. And you just coast all the way to victory.
Weehaw.
Okay,
I mean, you want to dash.
Now we have to fight a boss during this light cycle section. We're gonna see him later again, but for now we just have to annihilate a few bars. On beginner and standard, we just fight her as you normally would. You hit her with the trail while she's behind you, and you shoot her while she's in front of you. Starting with Proud and with higher difficulties, you actually want to do a little glitch that I think Donner figured out in accident, and Vito found a setup for it, where you clip the Commandos to be always behind you, but in a way that she cannot, like, she doesn't realize that she's behind you, but she will get hit by the trail constantly, and that deals a lot of damage. It's way better for Proud, 1, because you don't die as quickly, and 2, because you deal a lot more damage. It's actually faster. On beginner and standard, it's slower to do it, because by the time you can consistently set that up, you already have her defeated. And on standard, it's kind of tied. It's a little bit faster to just defeat her normally, but the higher you go in difficulty, the lower the damage you deal. Damage scaling and making good difficulties is not really DDD's strong point, because the higher you go in difficulty, the beefier the enemies get with higher attack stats, but the weaker you get simultaneously. It's a really weird system, or really weird way of balancing the game.
And also in
DDD, another fun mechanic where bosses can start in their DM phase. For example, if you think a boss will start on their last HP bar of 5, nah, they will start the fight with the DM right in your face.
Chill Cluster and the Char Cluster are very famous for this. They'll just open up with their DM phase, which is obnoxious.
Yep,
you
do not never get a hold of Char Cluster because they'll just run around hours on end. You hopefully don't have to see on either of our ends, but if we get unlucky, you can see him cruising around at the speed of sound.
Yeah, he will just zoom across the room, not a care in the world. Just a little lobster playing inside a whale.
Oh yeah, DM. So DM is short term for Desperation Move. We usually use it to talk about obnoxious attacks. Come to think of it. Desperation moves are usually the flashy moves that enemies start doing once they reach critical health. Like, for example, a very notable one, if you think about KH1, would be Ansem's DM, where he, on the second fight of Ansem, where he just floats in the middle of the arena and sends his guardian at you, dashing from the ground. Or in the Riku Ansem fight in Hall Bastion, where he just starts zipping through the... Oh, come on. He just starts zipping from across the area of the entire arena once you hit his final health bar. And that system got introduced in KH1, and it's stuck. Every single game except for Calm really has some desperation moves. Usually they're a time waster, and we try to skip them all as much as possible. Did this just accidentally city escape? You mean cruising out the speed of sound? No, that was on purpose. That wasn't purpose.
There are no accidents.
So, for those asking what happened to 2FM, unfortunately, due to technical difficulties, likely on Twitch's end, we had to stop that run. So we just jumped over to DDD for now.
Are you guys going back to eventually?
Unfortunately not. We did have to stop it halfway through round. We have created a thing for how to associate the times. We'll talk more about that at the end.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, something we haven't mentioned yet, Dream Eater spells. So, in this game, your Dream Eaters have the chance to cast spells on you and buff different aspects of your character. So you get spells like you just saw me get with haste. It decreases the reload time of your spells. There's ones...
And actually, it increases your attack speed.
Yeah, that too. You get combo assist, which can increase the damage of your combos. Drain, protect, shell. Auto life is also a spell that can be cast on you. One that you're not really going to see in this run, but is really huge in New Game Plus, is Spirit Roar. Essentially, what that does is it essentially gives you your actual damage scaling and then increases your damage by 50% on top of that. So it's a really good thing to get. Unfortunately, there's no easy way to get a Dream Eater with...
There is an easy way to get a Dream Eater, but that Dream Eater is not really prone to use that a lot. It's Yogi Ram. We can get it as early as Traverse Town. However, again, the Dream Eater, it's a Dream Eater that doesn't really like to use Spirit Draw. Because another thing is that spirits have affinity, and with higher affinity, they like you more, as the name suggests. If they like you more, they're more likely to be using buffs on you, which would...
Oh my god.
Because we create that spirit, he starts with 2, maybe 3 hearts if we really try to boost his affinity. And that would make him not use Spirit Draw at all. We see it like 2 or 3 times during the run. But on New Game Plus, we have 2 Dream Eaters, Magic Lapin, that we get to max affinity, that will throw those Spirit Draws at us. If you're lucky, you get like 5 Spirit Draws in 4 seconds or something like that. You see 700 pop-ups. Unfortunately, they don't stack. But it's still really good to have Spirit Draw up. That's what makes New Game Plus a lot faster outside of being able to skip the whole Dream Eater petting part. By the way, I also just fought another boss that we saw earlier, Commantis. That boss has 3 phases, just to go over it again, before Zan fights her. It has 3 phases, and after each phase, she goes into a little regeneration state that you have to basically interrupt with a reality shift, and then you can continue the fight. You cannot skip those, because once she just hits a certain number of HP, she'll just go into that state. We cannot skip it, to our knowledge. And it basically makes it a 3-phase fight. What is really good is that Dream Eaters don't only have the ability to buff you, they can also just cast normal spells or attack by themselves. And Tamashii can cast slow, which is very good on that fight specifically, because Commantis, is what she's called, is usually a boss that likes to fly around the arena as well and actually dish out a ton of damage if you're on higher difficulties. She's very dangerous in those. But if you're lucky, Tamashii will use slow, as she did in my case, and that will lead into Commandos just sitting there and tanking all the damage to do it. Now, I got very lucky with Chalk Cluster. I got the reality shift on him, which stuns him for a long time while also dealing a little bit of damage, but it's more about the stun. And that way we can loop him into not DMing properly. He will go into his DM phase, but he will not be able to zoom around across the room. And that's Chalk Cluster, a very quick fight. Now we're done with Riku's side. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna hope that we have Bargain Flurry, which is another weather like Overcast in one of the worlds. It gives us a few extra items we can buy, and it also reduces the price of things we can buy by 20%. We're gonna hope that we see Bargain Flurry somewhere. Yes, Citated Clutch for some reason, so the Hunchback always has it for me. Or almost always has it. Just like now. We're gonna sell all the things that we don't need. Hope that we get enough money out of it. And then buy a lot of things. Let me quickly try and sell enough.
I haven't checked any of my rewards. Do any of my rewards have fucking play? I know that Travis Down does.
Okay, this should be enough. So now I'm gonna buy 3 Balloon Rust, which are not available outside of Bargain Fury, a Thunder, as well as enough Vibrant Figments so that I can create another Dream Eater later. And I'm gonna quickly edit my deck a little bit to prepare for a later fight.
Okay, so I have a Bargain Flurry in both the Hunchback world and the Grid.
The Grid doesn't matter because there is no easily accessible...
I know, but like, that was... Oh, whoops. No one saw that. That was an illusion created by your mind to think that I ran into those hands.
So, we got Overcast for Sora against the boss fight, but we're not going to do the boss fight just now, because we can make it a lot easier. We don't get anything from beating this boss outside of extra HP, and I think more drop bonuses, which we don't really care about in this run. When we get them normally is when we would need them. We don't really need them right now. So we're going to put this off for later. What we're going to do instead is we're going to go to Musketeers Flush or Hunchback. Usually what I would do here is I would equip 2 Fondaras and 3 Balloon Rust to make sure that I can fight the fight properly. However, there's a chance, and not a pretty high chance actually, that both Komori Bat and Tamashi, or your Dream Eaters in general, whichever you have out, fill something called Link Gauge. You might have seen on the HP bar, there's also a bar that starts as a black, well, half a circle. But if your Dream Eaters attack a lot, or if you sync your attacks with them, which is something called Link Critical, ability you have to get with Meow during the tutorial, it makes it so that your Dream Eaters, like with Link Critical, the limit gauge, or the, not the limit gauge, the, what is it called? Spirit gauge? Link gauge. The link gauge is filled up a lot quicker, but just them attacking by themselves is usually enough to get that link gauge up. It's not always the case that you get it fully filled, but if you do get it fully filled, then the fights resulting at where we use it are super fast. You're gonna see it right here, start of this world. I will pretty much just hold L2 and press square so that all but 3 enemies of this fight just get wiped away. There. Boom. Comet drops, and there are 3 enemies left. Unfortunately, those enemies are a little bit annoying to fight, but they're not too bad because we have Bulimia. They get stunned by that, they do a lot of damage, and it's happy days. So now, just like with Riku, we have to head into the church first, but we're not going to get a cutscene right away. We actually have to climb a little bit higher. Oops, I...
Oh, for a second I thought you were talking about as Riku. I was like,
What are you saying?
I thought you were talking about Riku for a second. I don't know why. So this move that the Shark Boss is doing right here, it actually puts you to sleep. It increases your drop gauge. But I decided, because I didn't have enough link points, to just get sleep block on my Tamashi. So
I actually automatically, don't you? Because I always stand in that move and never get put to sleep.
Well, no, it increases your drop gauge. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
If you get sleep block, your drop gauge does not increase.
Oh, that's what you mean.
Yeah.
So you don't have to get sleep block because you usually can just stand in there and the drop gauge doesn't matter at this point, as there's not going to be any fights after this. But that move is usually what we want to see because it makes him stationary. We can put ourselves below the enemy and just set up Balloon Rush so that once he's done with that move, he gets roasted by an army of balloons just waiting for him. Now I'm fighting flowers. Those flowers are pretty annoying. They can be very easy because if they stand inside your balloon route, they just get killed right away. But if they start moving around, attacking you, or just being annoying. They can waste a lot of time. A lot of time. So something that can happen, as you can see now, if they don't die, they get launched up to the air very far. And then that usually means that you just have to sit there and hope that you are able to hit them. Eventually, once they come down. Or maybe if you're very lucky, your balloon rush just track them down. But you shouldn't rely on it too much. Oops. So another thing about flow motion, by the way, is while you're in flow motion, you cannot room transition. You can trigger loading zones and cutscenes, but you cannot actually room transition, which means we have to adjust our flow motion movement so that we pretty much perfectly stop. To be as effective as possible, we have to stop right in front of the loading zone to not waste any of the speed we have, but to also just have maximum speed while traversing there. Or to whatever place we want to go to. It makes sense that loading zones do not or cutscene loading zones allow us to continue. But it's interesting that room transitions don't allow us to continue while we're in flow motion.
Yeah, it was probably something they had to do to prevent.
I don't know if they had to, but I like that
jankiness.
part actually, because in the speedrun it means that you have to be even better at your flow motioning than rather than just flying around the rooms quickly. You have to also be able to judge if you are able to make it to the loading zone, if you can maybe do another dash, but if you do that extra dash, will you maybe waste half of it in the loading zone? And that way you can route around those. I slice Red Marauder. We can slice around those, route around those so that you can.
Here we go.
No, so that you can flow motion effectively. So we're fighting Wargold. This is the first boss we actually just spam Balloonra because there's barely any strat to this, except for maybe scrolling a little bit. If he falls down, you might not want to hug him right away. But this is the first fight where you really just spam. All the other fights, the positioning kind of matters as well, but here it doesn't at all.
Here we go.
Big time, I just spam doing all the time.
Okay.
So I got hit a lot during that dive for RNG manipulation. Definitely was not just me running into everything under the sun.
Okay, so you still got A rank, so it's fine. I'm not going to equip a few Fandaras because they will be helpful for this world until the very end. The boss fight doesn't really care too much about Fandara, but everything before that, because there are quite a few fights on this world, and we grind a little bit here. It... Sorry. Fandara is effective here. People usually only put their eyes on Balloonra, but if you have a lot of enemies in one area, Fandara can deal a lot of damage. It also has some probably unintentional but also hidden entity to it, that if you hit multiple enemies, the damage can like multiply between each other, which is a really weird thing. But if you, for example, have 3 enemies right next to each other, they can survive a Fandara, but if you're lucky, they don't. I also had a case once where an enemy wouldn't, like one of the big Wari flowers in Hunchback. It usually takes 5 Fandaras before it dies, like the 5th one kills it. But for some reason, I have a clip of it too, it just instantly died. It just instantly died while nothing was next to it. So Thunder is a really weird spell. It can be very, very effective. And it just generally is not too bad.
You just call it a Wowie flower?
Wowie flower.
It's a woe flower.
Woe flower. Whatever.
Wow flower.
I think it's not even the wolf flower. I'm talking about the yellow ones.
wow.
Those aren't even wolf
Oh,
flowers.
those are the Wii flowers.
I know my names. I know my names. Hey,
It was really funny watching Dessa first learn to run flat. Because my notes had all the Dream Eaters' proper names in them. And he had nicknamed all his Dream Eaters while he was practicing. He's like, wait, what Dream Eater is this?
Yep. Okay, so this fight is actually super hard on anything that isn't beginner or standard, because those Kuma pandas, they can troll a little bit with their bouncing mechanic. You see, they bounce around, and they can, just like you can bounce them, they can bounce you too. The problem is, they can cancel their stun and turn it into a bounce. That's what makes this fight dangerous and high difficulty. So on beginner, we don't mind it because we, well, don't die from it. But on other difficulties, it's very dangerous. This fight is super hard. Just there, for example, I bounced them up, and they decided, hey, you bounce me up, I'm gonna bounce back. Super weird. It doesn't even really make sense if you think about it, but yeah. That's another good thing of Fandari. You sometimes don't even see the enemy, you just see it.
Oh,
Hey.
Jesus.
Sorry, punched the mic on accident. I hope I didn't kill anyone.
Dessa's getting angry. Oh, someone stop him, he's talking too much about Dream Eaters.
Listen, it's my third run of DDD this night. I am allowed to get it.
This is my first run of DDD in like 13 months.
Now, I did actually decide to practice DDD tonight. Get some practice in. It is paying off, I guess.
Definitely meant to do an overhead swing there. So something that Dessa did differently than what I did during that courtyard fight. If you kill the Zoliphant, the big elephant Dream Eater, and then use Comet, it will kill everything.
That is true.
So if you just like balloon the elephant and kill it instantly, then use Comet, it's a much faster fight. You don't have the chance of the drill size going in the ground and then stun locking you.
That is true.
It's just
I kind of skipped that part.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It wasn't too bad of a fight. So now we're gonna grind a little bit. We want to get to 599 or less required XP, because that means that. Oh, wait, I need to defeat this cooldown as well. There, 552. Because 599 or less means that we can kill 2 more waves in this room and get another level up. Then we're gonna be level 10, which is kind of what we're working towards. You saw me killing enemies left and right here, just running around using Thunder and Continue. That allows us to get higher levels, higher stats, and just have faster fights from now on. I'm gonna quickly equip Cure and Balloonra. Balloonra to have a better chill faster fight. And Cure just so I don't have to equip it later. Because I want it for safety for later fights anyway. So I might as well equip it now because I don't have 6 Balloonras with this route. On a normal route, you would have 6 Balloonras here, but this is where it starts that I have less Balloonras than Zan will have.
Yeah.
Just because I got less money, saving like 35 seconds. It barely works having 5 Balloonras, but it does work. It's just a little bit more tight because you actually have to manage them.
But hey, you know what they say about DDD?
Dessa
It has Balloonras.
obviously. Okay. So yeah. Chill Class is another fight where you kinda only spam Balloonra. You can get lucky getting a DM skip, but it is, as far as we know, luck-based. Maybe there's a setup to it that we just haven't been able to figure out yet. I just thought of something actually that I might want to try in the future.
Try it now, yellow.
Oh, I'm already way past it. Like, way past the point where I could try it.
Well, what is it, Dessa? I'll try it for you.
It depends
I don't
on
think
what
that's
its damage
possible.
gate is. I think you would... the part where you just chills, you want to maybe let him do another move. So so that you then are able to push him past
Ooh, I got frozen.
his DM phase. Okay, so
Oh
I'm
my
not that
goodness.
close to the icicle on monster, but yeah, we got a free monster. Boom.
Take this.
I need these Deskabakis about freezing.
Yeah, so that fight actually went really well for me, but there's still a lot that can go wrong. You can get frozen by Jestabakis, you can get eaten by Jestabakis. It's basically the Jestabakis that are bad here, but the Kuma Pandas can catch you off guard. If they take the ground and lift it, the first part stuns you. The second part removes the stun. However, if they stun you and then get hit by something out of their attack, it means you'll just chill there stunned. It's not a good time. So if they really hit you with that move, you do want them to hit you again.
Oh no. I messed up flow motion now. That's fine.
Oh no.
I'm just climbing a tower to talk to this fake Pinocchio who's obviously fake, and I don't know why it fooled Sora in the slightest. Sora's really dumb in this game. Like, he is, he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. At all.
That's a good way of putting it.
Like,
I mean, he already isn't, but DDD
yeah, like,
level.
he's cartoonishly childish in this game, which is kind of weird. It's very refreshing to see the Cage 30 take of Sora after watching DDD. Like, there are just some scenes that boggle my mind on how they were written and why they decided to go this direction with Sora.
There's just a thought I had, or a comparison about the shopper's tool and the shit. Type! You said exactly what I just wanted to say. So yeah, I was about to say his mind is about as blunt as the keyblade he wields. I was about to say that, but then chat actually was faster than I was.
So I just jumped there to try and get away from the Kuma Panda's punch, only to jump up into another Kuma Panda's punch coming from the top row.
Exactly. That's something that can happen in that fight, and that's why this fight's scary. By the way, while that happened, I defeated 2 bosses. Chilled Cluster is a pretty straightforward fight. Rinsler, same thing. Unfortunately, the fight doesn't take long because the song is pretty cool. I like it.
Oh, the Rinsler music is some of the best in the world.
Yeah, but unfortunately, you don't hear it enough.
He's also Rinsler is the first humanoid fight that you do in this entire game.
That is true. So something you can do here is warp map skip. If you press start pretty much frame perfectly, you can go to Flick Rush and skip the animation of the world quickly panning over, but it's not a big deal if you don't get it. It's pretty much whatever. Something that isn't whatever though is that Tamaship does not have its link gauge filled, which means we're gonna fight this fight with our bare hands and not with a bare comet to the face.
You get these Dream Eaters are about to get a gift. These hands.
Heavenly hands. Adam, that's actually incorrect. The last part, he is still 15 in that game.
Which one? DDD?
Cage free.
Cage 3? He's 16.
16, you think so?
He's
still
15. Isn't he? He's 15 and 2.
Yeah,
he's
I
15
think there's
and
an entire year between those games.
he's 15 and 1.
No, he's 14 and 1.
Is he?
Yeah, Riku's 15.
You know what?
There's not a year between Cage 2 and Cage 3. Like
We don't know the time between Cage 2 and Cage 3.
Yeah, we never got the age confirmed like in Cage 1 and 2. Those we got confirmed through the game's manual.
Well,
But
we got it confirmed in the Cage 1 manual, and then through extrapolation, realizing that it's been a year since Sword's been asleep, he should be exactly 1 year. The timeline between 2 and 3 is kind of iffy, because you have Recoded that takes place in between them and DDD, but there's really no consensus on how long it takes those events to happen.
Mm-hmm. So, while that little lore discussion happened, I fought a little fight that Zen might be able to use Comet on, but I wasn't. Because that was a case where Tamashii did not have enough link gauge, but it's fine because that means for the next time where we're gonna have to use it, we will have it ready. Which is good because the next time is arguably more important. Now we're gonna get into the fight where I actually would like to have cure for, because this is one of the few fights in beginner, or the earliest fight in beginner pretty much, where you can actually die on. It's a triple threat fight. Just rehashing all the bosses, but in a small confined area. It's not a well-designed fight in my eyes, neither casually nor in the speedrun. And basically we just place balloons so we spawn trap the enemies. And then we spam balloons to not enemies.
Yeah, I don't know what... I do not know what Square was thinking, placing 3 gigantic bosses in Traverse Town's 3rd district.
So like, let's
oh,
capture
cool.
God Armor again. He was
It's like...
made out of 5 parts. So let's put 3 bosses there instead. And the thing about Wargol is that his attacks take up a huge area. He takes up half the arena, his attacks take up the other half. That makes for a recipe where you always get hit. Something that Chalk Clock can do here, luckily enough, is he can try to dash around the room. And obviously because there's not enough space for it, he will not be dashing. What he can also do is just give the old 1-2 over and over and over to you. Which makes that fight a little bit of a chore, but it's not too bad. We just got through it right there.
That's just jump. Man.
Yeah, but he'll still hit you.
Yeah, he'll still hit you, just look at the balloon off. So imagine that fight in a super confined space, huge hitboxes coming out that are hard to avoid, and imagine doing that on higher difficulties, where you can just get one shot.
Ooh, Riku has Overcast for TG2.
There's also a funny glitch that can happen with Haka Monkey in that fight. He can actually get stuck falling infinitely on the light post.
Oh right, I forgot about that. He don't really
he can just...
up. If he jumps up and gets stuck between the wall and the lamppost, he just falls and falls and falls.
Eventually he'll just land, like it'll fix him, and he'll land and like walk at you to get off the lamppost. But it's really funny to see. He's just sitting there falling forever. And then, you know, Wargoyle just punches the soul out of you.
Yep. So now we have Riku's second visit. Traverse Town is the only world that we revisit in DDD. I think it's cool that they brought back the concept but didn't over-exaggerate it like they did in KH2. The thing is, in both cases, the second visit is short, just like in KH2. With Riku, you really just have to fight those Sarah Terrors, which with Fandara is pretty much a joke. And after that, you go chase Pelican around a little bit. That one Sarah Terror is running... Both of the Sarah Terrors are just running to the end of the... They're just running away from me. They don't want to get hit. They don't want to have balloons. And that one just smooth criminaled me. Something those Sarah Terrors like to do is they like to pretend to be Michael Jackson and just slide backward.
There's also something they can do which slows down the fight considerably. They can stun you. They can just throw out like a ball of energy at you and stun you.
They can become the ball of energy with spikes and stun you.
Yeah, they are not very nice dinosaurs.
That's what makes the Thunder reroute really nice, because with Fandara you can, with Overcast, 2 Fandaras and an entire wave is gone, which gives you time to reassess the fight. On higher difficulties it might be more of a problem, but on beginner you really just shoot out your spells, try to avoid the hits a little bit.
Hey, you want to hear a nice meme? Thomas Sheep that doesn't have enough link gauge for me either.
Oh, okay. At least you'll have it for Country of Musketeers at least. Yeah.
Country of the Musketeers should be.
So you might think that next world's gonna be Country of the Musketeers, but nope. We gotta go to Symphony of Sorcery. Why? Because there's not a single fight that is influenced by our loadout or level. It doesn't matter if you play this game on crit, level 1, get crit level 1, beginner, doesn't matter. You will always be on exactly the same pace in this world. Because in this world, the only fight you have is Chernobog. And that fight is a dive fight. A little bit more horizontal than vertical. But, or pretty much only horizontal instead of vertical. To be fair, but it basically means that we don't have to fight anything, and the only damage we deal is fixed damage. There are 3 phases to the fight, and each hit will deal 1 bar of damage. He has 3 bars of health, meaning 3 hits and he's done for. Which also makes that world a very good thing to do early, because we do get something useful out of it. There is a reason we do this early, outside of it just not mattering whether we do it now or later. We get the Keyblade counterpoint, which is the 2nd highest magic stat on the Keyblade that we get further. And by the way, we got a meme, we got Overcast in Symphony of Sorcery, which doesn't matter at all, because again, you can't deal any damage except for the dive thing. The rest doesn't really matter, which means getting Overcast does not really do anything for you. It just wastes your energy. Okay.
I should have believed in my dream eaters. I got enough for comment, and then I got my commands locked. So I was like, oh, I'll just comment, and then it didn't kill because I didn't have dual disc on. So like,
First gear isn't enough.
I didn't have Ferris gear on either.
But yeah, it is enough.
I have Guardian Bell.
Okay, so something you want to do here is you want to move around a little better than I did, because you can jump up there right away and save yourself some trouble. Not super easy though.
And there you see one of my Dream Eaters died, because I do not have Cure equipped.
So not having Cure equipped in that fight is actually really risky, because Woggle can just slap you around a lot. The Dream Eaters can heal you, but I personally wouldn't rely on it. I'd rather take a second or 2 and use Cure. I've lost way too many decent runs to this fight. So, by the way, we just got a tutorial for items, because we just picked up an elixir. Before that, we didn't get a single item, and now we have a consumable, the elixir, which we're going to use a little bit later. This world, Symphony of Sorcery, is based around the gimmick that you do some rhythm minigames, predecessors of Melody of Memories, as some people like to call it. And they alter the rooms, they open up different paths, and they just change how the room looks. Also allows us to traverse here and get this chest. This chest contains a Rio Dragon recipe. Now you're gonna say, hey, Rio Dragon, it took me so long to create that thing casually. I had to grind so many special portals. Why did I grind special portals? No. The exact reason we're gonna show in a little bit. After this world, I'm gonna show you guys what's up with this. But we are going to create Rio Dragon, and it will not require getting any special portals done. We'll basically just be able to pull it out of thin air. The exact way of how we go about it, I'll explain once I get to it. For now, I have a few more areas that I'd have to uncover. All those reality shifts, those melodies are non-optional. Also, wait, you died? You just saw that your health is more full up when you're on Hawk Monkey again.
I died.
That's boss rush.
That's what happened.
There is really a fight you shouldn't underestimate. If you don't go in with Cure, you should at least be ready to dodge a lot. Or, of course, be lucky that Komoribat or Meow will heal you.
I brought them both out, and they were just like, we don't like you. We're not gonna heal you. Like, oh, okay.
Dog in the background just staring at you.
So, fun fact, you can block those meteors by Warboil. You didn't know.
So yeah, you see Chernobog now. Chernobog is a dive fight, as I proclaimed earlier already. We are a little bit more horizontal than vertical on it. We just dive forward to him. Each hit deals 1 bar of damage, and 3 hits will defeat him.
Oh my goodness.
Oh no.
I died again. Whatever.
Oh, you
I
got.
was gonna
Oh,
lose. I was gonna lose this race anyways, so it's fine.
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I mean, I'm death cycling to a fight.
Don't
that's
worry
really
about it.
easy because I
All
forgot to
good.
equip the.
Hey, we still got half the run ahead of us.
Yeah, half a run where you have a better end game.
We still have a half a run ahead of us. We're here to put on a good show, if anything. So, you saw all kinds of various attacks that Chernobog can do. Most of them are very easy to avoid. The only one that kind of bothers us is when he starts sending out ghosts, fireballs, and fire pillars simultaneously. That usually only happens towards the end of the third phase. Like around here, he sends out ghosts. After this, he will raise fire pillars. And now he's gonna start shooting those fireballs if I'm too slow. Okay, no, I got in there quick enough. No. Oops. So for some reason, there's a 10-second widescreen after Chernobog where you just pause. You can pause the game and you have to wait until the heart symbol appears. Next dive is going to be very important. This is where Riku fights the second dive boss, the Brawlamari. And the Brawlamari is actually super hard to be fast in on Riku's side. Brawlamari can be 2-cycled, as I said earlier, saving 45 seconds, but getting this 2-cycle, it's not easy. It was a lot easier on the 3DS version, but I assume that the 60 FPS, or that's my theory on it at least, makes the timing a little bit more tight, making the 2-cycle a lot more inconsistent. It depends on a lot of factors. Some of them are not in your ability to manipulate. Some of them you just have to take them as they come. But the timing thing is something you can influence. And I'm gonna try and focus a little bit for that if you wanna continue for a little bit, Sam.
So something that I like to get for Riku in this is magic gain. It kind of speeds up his section.
Oh, we never went over drop bonuses. You might explain those?
So the drop bonuses in this game range from really good to absurd. You get things like more affinity. You gain more affinity on your Dream Eaters. You do more damage with attacks. You have more magic stat. There's ones that give your spirits auto life, but there are also commands you can get, and there are some commands that are exclusive to the drop system.
Dark roll.
Yeah, no, that's not exclusive. You can get it in Flick Rush. There's like one that's exclusive. I think it's like sliding block. But
Oh, actually, you're right.
it makes 100% really difficult because if you don't get those commands, you're kind of SOL. Did you do the save warp to Backstreets?
Give me a second.
Did you
Okay,
do the save warp to Backstreets?
What are you saying?
Did you do the save warp to Backstreets?
Of course.
Of course. I
Okay,
first read
so-
about that and I was like, you know, that makes a lot of sense.
I got the 2-cycle right there, saving like 40-45 seconds over the 3-cycle. I think it's more like on a 40-second in. Now we have a pretty big menu. This will also go over what I meant with the Dream Eater. So I'm gonna create Real Dragon, but you see, oh, he's grayed out. But wait, I can still create something. So what's it gonna be? It was grayed out. Oh wait, it's a Rio Dragon. So what happened there is something called Dream Eater creation glitch. If you hover over any Dream Eaters, any of the first 12 or last 12 Dream Eaters on your list, you can go ahead and create them with the recipe of the Dream Eater on the top left or bottom right, depending on if you choose the first or last set of 12 Dream Eaters. In this case, we only have 6 Dream Eaters, so we can only access the top 12, of course. So what we do is we hover over Rio Dragon, and after hovering over him, we go and... Give me a second, I want to quickly menu. After hovering over him, what we do is we... There. Yep. We... I'm gonna finish that sentence eventually. We hover over him, and then we press L1 so that we scroll back to Meow basically. But instead of the game thinking that we are on Meow, because we didn't press up, down, left, or right, we pressed L1, which makes the game think, hey, you're still on Rio Dragon, you never scrolled away from it. But we are actually on Meow, meaning that we create Rio Dragon out of the recipe for Meow. Instead of having to get those crazy fantasies that you get from special portals, we just use the the two most basic items that you can buy from the Lugo shop. That allows us to access Super Glide, and all this setup that we just had actually is shorter, or is not like the Super Glide itself saves enough time that all the setup we just did is worth everything we just went through, from getting the recipe to quickly playing Water Barrel with our Rio Dragon, as well as just straight up teaching it Super Glide on the ability link board. It's all worth it because we do save enough time. So now I have to hunt down the 3 Beagle Boys. Pretty straightforward thing. You have consistent positionings for everything. Even the last two are a little bit iffy. You do want to be very specific with how you access the third one. If you want to shock that from over here to barely hit those close, but be a little bit closer. That way you hit them. If you are a little bit too close on the wall, oh wow, and you also want that Zero Gravisa to go through, of course. If you're too close to the wall, the game will not actually have that Beagle Boy walk towards you, but he'll rather walk away, if anything. I'm gonna quickly drag him here. I don't know where the second Beagle Boy is. Oh, he's chilling over there. What are you doing there? Oh, okay, I got him dragged there.
I got the meme as well, Dustin.
What you want to do is have them all dragged into the Zero Gravisa. That way you can go and just defeat them all simultaneously. You do want to also defeat 2 Aura Lines to get level 15. I don't know if I defeated both or only one of them. I'm definitely level 14, level 15 would be better, but it's not worth grinding for. Now we're gonna go to Holy Moly. This fight is weird because you can lose a ton of time here, but you can also DM skip him. The DM skip is pretty hard, and as far as I know, also a little bit luck dependent, but there might be a setup to it. It's not easy, that's for sure. You want to basically stun him while he's doing attacks, so that he repeats doing an attack. If you stun enemies while they're doing a move, instead of while they're waiting, they end up repeating that move. We did that with Ursula. We stunned her. We stunned her while she was just staring at us, and that made her stare at us even longer. If we would have stunned her while she uses her laser, at the very beginning of the round, I mean, if we stun her while she's doing the laser, she will repeat that laser. Same with Holy Moly. If we stun him while he's summoning carrots, he will summon the carrots again. But in this case, I stunned him a little bit late, which made him teleport right away and losing like around 45-50 seconds. As of right now, again, it still seems like RNG, if you can actually get the DM skip or not, but it's been done before. It's not like super witchcrafty. I think I've gone in like 2 or 3 times on a new game. One of them was earlier today, actually. And I think on New Game Plus I've gotten it a few times, because on New Game Plus you can get Spirit Draw, and more damage again allows you to skip DMs way easier. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna swap to Sora, because we don't have anything else we can do with Riku right now. Skip all the drop bonuses, because we can't access
Got that
Magic
meme as
King.
well, that's it.
Hmm?
The magic boost in Symphony. Hey, the Overcast.
Oh, you got it too?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So both of us got trolled by the game by getting Overcast on a world that we really don't need it on.
It's literally the only world for. It's the only world Riku's Symphony is also the only world in which we don't actually want Overcast.
Yeah, it doesn't really hinder us on anything, but it just feels like the game mocking you if you get Overcast in a world where you don't use any spells anyway, because you just have a dive boss and that's it. So this is one of the last dives we have to do. There's only one more dive section left with Riku and 3 with Sora, including this one. We are diving to Country of the Musketeers. Now it's quite different with Sora than with Riku. Usually you see a few shared rooms, but I think Sora and Riku only share the opera and the outside of the opera. The inside and the outside of the opera. Oh, and the stage, I guess. Because Riku is only centered around the opera. Sora is kind of centered around the actual country a little bit. And at the end he also journeys to the opera, but that's more of a forced visit.
So something that wasn't talked about when Dessa was going through Symphony of Swords. If you've played DDD on a higher difficulty, you may be wondering how we're getting so lucky that all the inputs for the reality shift are the same. In beginner, for whatever reason, every single input is the same on the reality shift, and this is the only reality shift that's functionality changes depending on difficulty.
Yep.
Which is kind of
higher you
weird.
go in difficulty, it actually becomes more and more random. I think on standard it also doesn't just whip out all of them right away. It kind of it inches itself forward towards being difficult. But at the start it's really not hard, because on beginner you always have the same button. If you start with square, you end with square. On standard, I think you have 2 different buttons that can appear, and I think starting with Proud, it can be anything. So now we're fighting Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is the biggest Dream Eater, or the one Dream Eater that Dynamaxed apparently.
Oh god, Dynamax.
Bringing a little Pokemon in here. But yeah, we just fight this guy, no idea why he's big, no idea why he's following us, he's just there, and now he's gone. A little bit of Jurassic Park.
Yeah, they don't really explain Tyrantto Rex just starts chasing you.
Yeah, he just starts chasing you, sort of like, oh no, and starts shooting balloons at him.
It's such a weird fight. There's no explanation for it. It's really just a setup for the Beagle Boys to steal Princess Minnie. It's crazy.
So this is where Super Glide comes into play. Super Glide is from this point on going to save us a lot of time moving around the place. You can see we can abuse the geometry of the worlds a little bit to not even have to land and jump again. We can just... Oh my god. I luckily didn't trigger the cutscene yet. We can abuse the geometry a little bit. And get ourselves higher if we fly towards... do you call it tilted surface, or how do you call it? Angled surface, there we go.
Angled. I'm tilted. Am I a tilted surface?
And now I'm fighting the Beagle Boys again. This is a little bit easier because they're all gathered up right away, so we're just gonna whack away at them with the balloons we have. Use a little bit of Fandara because Fandara is actually good. Now what Tamashii did is it actually put one of those Beetle Boys to sleep, which is Stopper, which is not good. Sleep is fine, but Stop is not, because with Stop they don't do their knockout animation either. They just wait until it stops. Until they stop being stopped. Now, after defeating the Beagle Boys, we actually have to go to the complete other side of the country, which is the shore, and then the whatever church that is. Shortly before that, I'll quickly use 0 Gravisa and 1 Fandara just to do a mini grind. Here, boom. That's it. I don't want to grind more than that. I just need to get below 1000 XP, somewhere around that. And then the next fight is gonna give me 1 more level up to speed up the rest of the run, which is gonna be the last set of grind. That was the last grind we really do. Everything else is just what we actually need to do. Now no optional stuff anymore. Glide a little bit through the room. Super Glide has a pretty interesting, or Glide in general, but especially Super Glide has a very interesting quirk where if you start being, you constantly get lowered with Sora, but if you start being lower than the ground, theoretically, so what I mean by that is, if Sora would be pulled through the ground, once you start losing the floor below you because there is a staircase or something like that, Sora gets magnetically pulled down to it. So we try to basically have Sora on a surface that is on his height. If there's a higher level surface, we try to glide onto it, because then if we glide down, he just gets pulled straight to the ground. Make Super Glide movement a lot faster, easier, and snappier, because we don't have to like drop, re-glide or something like that. We just glide and he'll just basically be on the exact height we need him to be. Right now as well, I glide on the stairs and whoop, he just gets zoomed down.
I really like Ralamari's second phase, because you know that the little line between his 2 bottom eyes? It looks like a little smiley face.
I never thought of that.
It looks like he's like sitting there smiling at you. Like, I'm gonna kill you. No, you're not.
Haha. Get ready for this.
Oh, get
For
ready for
the
this.
hero of our time, Ursula.
Can I create the Red Dragon?
So Meow is mad at me. I don't know why, but he is. So we here have to knock out the Beagle Boys again, but the fight doesn't stop by knocking out the Beagle Boys. We want to knock them all out. And after they're knocked out, we are going to go and yank them towards, or yeet them towards Pete. The little pictograms that we have to follow, we have to do with the left and right analog stick, they're very weird. I think there's no leeway at all. You have to be dead correct with it. You have to 100% hit the angles, otherwise it doesn't accept it. Now we're gonna fight against Pete, who for whatever reason sometimes drops money at this point. And yeah, we want to try and stun lock him. We don't want him to go to this side of the arena that I'm standing in front of right now. We want him to be as far away from it as possible, because that's where his DM is started. He can only start the DM on that side and not the other one. So if we stun him a lot with balloons and Fandaras, we can keep him away from there, and that way he will not have a chance to DM, saving us a lot of time and trouble. I'm gonna try and keep him stun locked there, but if he starts running away, I need to be careful. Try to catch up to him and just stun him all the time. It's not easy at all. Like right now he's trying to get away, but he doesn't have much health left, so maybe I need to be careful that I don't try and be too fast by using Balloon Rush. This slow was unnecessary because now his knockout animation is gonna be slower as well. But that was just a safety precaution and stay in case he was still able to run away. But we did it. DM skip Pete.
There's this really cool chant. Like if you only get the water barrel from the Hunchback world for getting an A rank there, so you only have 1 water barrel. There is a chance in which your V Dragon just does not enough.
Yeah, I only had
V
10.
link points to get the super glide. Like you can get as low as 9 on those water barrels. It's really annoying if you get the 9. It's extremely rare, but it's possible and it's annoying as all heck.
I usually just gamble it, and if it doesn't work, because there's a Moogle shop close by where I do it anyway, I'll just buy a water barrel there. But usually I just hope it doesn't happen. Because it's way too rare. Way too rare. I haven't seen it yet. I've been running this game a lot with the newer route.
So what I did that might be a little different from Dust, I don't know if he does it or not, but I grinded outside the Opera House because I elected not to grind earlier. This is so that way I can get Riku and Sora to a more reasonable level for the end game.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
And these fish bones are annoying.
Okay, both characters have one more dive ahead of them. So now we're gonna set up our deck, which is gonna be already the deck we use on Spelican. Spelican, it's a fight that exists in the game. I don't like to think about it too much because it's a bad fight that exists in the game. We use Collision Magnet and Zero Graviga to give us a little bit of an edge on that fight. But that edge is not sharp. It's a fairly dull edge. Spelican can still do a lot. What Spelican can do is he can teleport around the world and is giving you a hard time chasing him down. And what he can also do is he can summon brooms, and if you don't notice that he's summoning brooms, he will teleport away and you'll have to defeat those brooms.
And if you take too long in the fight, he will just go back to his first phase, and you have to chase him down all over again.
Very fun when it happens.
I definitely don't want to just die right then and there. I've only seen it happen once, to be fair. I saw it happen to my friend Kaiblade when he was learning the game. 13-minute Spelican fight he had to endure.
So one bad thing about the reality shifts in this game is that you activate them by pressing circle and triangle. Triangle also activates commands and it lets you jump. I don't know why they didn't just let us touch the touchpad, which would have been a lot smarter, and having those reality shifts like Country of the Musketeers work with the touchpad too, but whatever their decision was to do it like that. The problem with having a triangle and circle is not that you can jump on accident, but you can use commands on accident. You can waste items if you're not careful, or you can just waste time by accidentally using Collision Magnet or something like that. And that doesn't only mean that you mistimed the reality shift, that also means that you have to wait until Collision Magnet is over to then use another reality shift. Which is why I usually try to scroll to Balloonra or Zero Graviga, something that's very short and doesn't really do anything bad for me if I accidentally activate it. That way, the worst thing that'll happen is that enemies start flying around in zero gravity. Oh wow, I just got hit twice. Interesting.
So right there, if you guys saw, I slow motioned into Holy Moly when his head was popping out of the ground. That'll actually stun him. So you're able to just finish off the fight if you weren't able to get the DN skip. I don't know if Desmond mentioned that earlier.
Okay. So we're about to hit the next boss fight. We did hit the sound idea now, and now we have to fight Spelican. Which Spelican is in the third book. There are 3 books in this room. One of them is for Riku, one of them is for Sora, and the third one is for Sora fighting Spelican. The first part of the fight is just chasing him around on this H-shaped form, or I guess that's supposed to be an infinity symbol. Or is it an H-shape? Maybe it's not even an H-shape, I don't know. Just on this path, you just smash square and try to avoid his attacks. His purple, whatever he throws at you, his purple spell balls, or his giant rock. You want to see the rock a lot more because it's a lot easier to dodge it. If he spams a lot of those purple things, it can be hard to dodge them all. Like right now you saw me getting hit by 2 sets of those, slowing me down a little. But there, I caught up to him. Now I'm gonna basically super jump towards him, whee, and start spamming. But use 1 or 2 balloon rush and then 0 gravity dodge. Okay, now I'm gonna try to collision magnet him into place, because that way I can just fling him around a little, have him be stunned a little as well. And damage is really not what we get collision magnet for. It's because we can stun the enemies, him like that, and it's also for dragging him out of his teleport, because collision magnet grabs him out of this teleport, which is, I think that's the only ability that does it to him. Zero Graviga is useful on him because he gets stunned from it, but oh my god, he's throwing me. He's throwing me more than I've seen in a while. Now he's summoning brooms. If he summons too many of them, I don't think it really works in this phase of the fight, but if he will summon later on too many of them, he will teleport away and leave me alone with those. Those brooms actually deal quite ridiculous amounts of damage too, which makes them scary, on top of just being there and maybe causing him to teleport away. And I'm gonna drag him down. I don't want to chase him up anymore. This is a really weird fight right now. He's just throwing me all over the place. Now it's flying away. Great. He didn't fly that far, which is good, so I can maybe Zero Graviga him. Yep. It's funny if he uses his little blade of light, because if you Zero Graviga him during that, he just starts spinning around while having it active. It looks super funny. Now where is it gonna be? I'm gonna quickly use Zero Graviga to stun him one more time, because now, if those stars don't stun lock me, I should be able to defeat him with this balloon rod. Almost wanted to split. Okay, he teleported away. He's summoning brooms again, so using that collision magnet was crucial. If he would have summoned too many brooms, he would have teleported away and would have had to defeat all 4 brooms. Not a thing you want to do.
Whoops, I used Zero Graviga on Oh, it's all falling apart. It's all falling apart. I'm losing. I'm losing it.
I used Zero Graviga on purpose there, because it looks funny. Doesn't matter. Okay. Now we're gonna go to the final world. The world never was. Ooh. And this is where Sora has his final dive boss, Queen Butterfly 2. By far the worst gummy boss.
I like it.
This is the only quick kill that is inconsistent. It's not in your... Like, you are able to influence it to be more favorable, but you cannot make it consistent as far as we know, because the hitbox on the back of Queen Butterfly is horrible. As you see, that should have hit, but it just decided to not hit, just like that one. The hits just decide to not hit, and you have to hope that Sora does a lot of those spin attacks and hits a lot of the orbs at once. But because you whiff a lot, 2 cycles is usually what's going to happen, just like right now. However, you can speed up the 2 cycle a little bit by hitting the bees while they create the laser. If they create the laser and you hit them out of that, you defeat both of them simultaneously, and you defeat them before they even go off screen. Makes it a little bit faster, but I didn't get it, which is not too bad. Now I hope that I at least get the 2 cycle. I don't want to get a 3 cycle. Okay, that was awful, but please. Okay, there we go.
Get the 1 cycle Queen Butterfly?
No, 1 cycle is not consistent. I didn't get it.
I know it's not consistent.
Yeah, I got a 2 cycle, which is fine.
I was memeing on you, friend.
Okay, so now a very important thing. As of right now, Zan and I golded every single diving section. If you get an A rank in every single of those 7 dives with a specific character, you will get a new Keyblade called Diving. That is actually the strongest magic key that we can get into any percent run. The only ones that are strong are Ultima Weapon, End of Pain, and I think that's it. Only Ultima Weapon and End of Pain are stronger in terms of magic stats.
Yeah, Ultimate Weapon requires you to beat Julius, as previously mentioned, and End of Pain requires you to beat every single special portal. Its name is very apt because searching for those special portals is pain.
Mm-hmm. It's fine in the plat speedrun because you usually get it done while you're grinding for the 100 drops anyway. But yeah. Sora has an auto drop entering that world, which means now we continue playing as Riku. Like, we already get automatically dropped to Riku, so we might as well continue with him. It doesn't really matter who we continue with. Now, this is very close to the part of the run that kills runs. No matter how good your run is, the game does not care. The game giveth and the game taketh away very quickly. I also got hit like 2 or 3 times, which is pretty embarrassing, but I'm getting over it.
I'm also very used to Cage 3's glide, where you just hold circle and you start gliding. Having to press circle multiple times. This is outrage. I demand a recount of this game's mechanics.
So, I'm gonna check if I have Overcast already. If I have Overcast right now, I'm just gonna continue. If I don't, then I'm gonna go and potentially grind it. I don't have to grind it. Grinding it takes a while. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna quickly buy 2 Kyuragas. That way I can save myself opening a chest later. And now we're gonna continue with the world a little bit. We're not gonna go far into it. We're just gonna basically finish one puzzle. And once we finish that puzzle, we're gonna try and grind for Overcast. We want to have it on slot 3. Because the first slot is always the currently active character. On the weather things, you have 3 slots. First slot is always the currently active weather, the currently active character. The second slot is always the next character you're gonna play. So with Riku, it's gonna be Sora's weather in this world. With Sora, it's gonna be Riku's weather in this world. And the third one is gonna be your next weather. So if you're playing as Riku, it's gonna be Riku's next weather. If you're playing as Sora, Sora's next weather. We want to see Overcast on slot 3 with Riku as early as possible. If we don't see it, we won't continue the run as some of the fights get super bad. we could just say whatever and just go for it and lose like 2 or 3 minutes, but it could also happen at any time that we may get Overcast, so I might as well try and get it as deliberately as possible. We're gonna see what happens. I still have like 30 seconds until I have to actually grind for it. What we're gonna do is gonna hit this thing real quick, punch a little, use reality shift, and then this room unfolds in its true form where a few exits are getting opened up, as well as a little path is being made. Then that battery goes down and whoop, we suddenly have access to the higher floor, onto the upper floor. There are 2 exits. The right one is whatever forest, the left one is where we want to go. This chest has double flight, which is a pretty cool ability, only useful on the young and the next boss versus Riku. And now I'm gonna grind for Overcast. I saw Overcast on Sora's second slot, but I'm not gonna use that Overcast because it means if I finish Sora's story now, I will have to continue with whatever Riku has. So now the grind for Overcast begins. This can take 5 seconds by just getting Overcast right away. It can take an infinite amount of time by not getting Overcast at all. I'm gonna quickly set up Sora so I don't have to do it later. I didn't do the Riku yet. Oh, it's fine. And now we hope to get Overcast fairly quickly. It shouldn't take too long. That's what I'm saying right now. The open side, we did not die yet. Oh wait,
So, did you? I don't know if you mentioned this when you were fighting Beagle Boys in Pete. When you knock down these Beagle Boys, you can throw them into Pete. You don't want to throw them into Pete until all 3 of them are knocked down. Because once one of them is thrown into Pete, he starts throwing bombs, but as thrown into him, he'll start throwing bombs and make it quite a lot harder. But if you just wait till all 3 of them are down and throw them all in at the same time, that will prevent you from having to deal with that, really.
Let's go. Okay. We actually got Overcast with both Sora and Riku. Which means Sora's story is going to be a lot quicker now, as well as Riku's for the rest of the run. We're now going to have Overcast for the rest of the game. Very good. Gonna speed up those fights tremendously. Sora's fight quite a bit, but Riku's fight because he has like 5. They're all gonna be sped up a lot. 5? 1, 2, 3, yeah, 5. And this Overcast grind is what makes or breaks your run. You go up until 150 into the run, or 2 hours depending on how fast you are, and then you wait until you get Overcast. If you don't have Overcast, you don't continue. So I think we never even really explained what makes Balloonra so powerful. Balloonra is a spell that ignores magic defense, or defense of the enemies. It only takes 2 steps. Okay.
I don't think that it ignores it. I think that it's because it's coded as neutral magic damage, so there's no inherent elemental defense associated with it. So it'll do the same damage to any enemy with the same magic defense.
Exactly.
And enemies in this game have notoriously low magic defense.
It makes it seem like the game pretty much ignores defense, because even on low stats, you deal a ton of damage. Right now we're level 13 with Sora and 15 with Riku. You're gonna see how much damage we're gonna deal. It's crazy. And it's very easily accessible. It does a lot of damage. Each of the balloons deals a ton of damage, and Balloonra spawns 6 balloons right away. So if you just mash triangle for a little while, you have like 50 balloons flying around, all of them dealing massive damage. It also recharges very quickly, making it a spammable spell. Balloon Ga is not as good because it A, takes a lot longer to pop. B, I think it actually deals less damage, but it consistently stuns. And C, it's way longer on the recharge time. Normal spells usually have a recharge time of 6 seconds, Ra spells 12 seconds, and Ga spells 18 seconds. Making Balloon Ga a lot slower. Balloon obviously is faster, but Balloon is not as versatile because Balloon puts balloons down and that's it. But while Balloon Ra homes in on the enemies as well. Now we're fighting this guy.
Oh my!
A good song. We're gonna spam a lot of Balloonra here, but we actually have to be a little bit careful because there is a move you can do that can one-shot you, even on beginner. And this is what I said about having 6 Balloonras versus 5 Balloonras. I have only 5, which means I have to scroll through my deck constantly. You can DM skip him, but I didn't make it because I didn't stun him enough. So what I can do... Oh wait, I can't do it here, haha. You can watch Meow Owl engaging into battle. He starts moaning. There we go. Go for Meow Owl. Get him! Attack! Yeah. So, something that you saw on Zan's end is he missed the requirement for the dive, which makes you have to repeat the diving section. It's not a good thing to happen. It usually doesn't happen either, but it can happen if you are not cautious about if you're trying to be a little bit cocky, for example, or if you're just generally not cautious about how many points you have or going to get. Okay, now we got this guy down. That was the final thing we have to do with Sora. Sora's story has come to an end now, and the next one and last part is gonna be Riku. Okay, so now with Riku. Yeah, we already set up, so you see we don't have a... Did I never equip double flight? Oh, I equipped double impact. Oops. There we go. So, you see Riku does not have a drop gauge anymore. Story-wise it makes sense, Sora's asleep now. And now it's all on Riku to save the world, basically. So, Riku has to defeat a lot of those orbs to unfold rooms. And if he does that, if he unfolds those rooms, for unfolding the rooms, he needs to hit those orbs a lot. The way we do it is we usually deal 3 hits normally, and then shoot a balloon at them. The way we do those 3 hits doesn't really matter. And the first orb you just saw, I dashed into it, dealing 2 hits from the dash in itself, because the flow motion has hitboxes, the dash of it. Then I use another shock dive for the 3rd hit, and a balloon run, which makes it available for reality shift. And on the other ones, I usually just shock dive right away to get those guns out of the way that usually spawn out of it. And then I hit it once, hit it twice, and use balloon run. Because after the balloon run usage, I can usually use the reality shift if I didn't get knocked out of it. Okay, and now boom, that's what the room truly looks like.
I almost messed up terribly.
Okay, so now we have a little bit more flow motion to go. And soon we'll be on Riku's boss rush. He has 5 bosses he has to beat back to back to back. With barely anything in between. After this long climb. Oops. We go onto this pipe. You want to manually jump off of the pipe, because if you don't do that, or do you want to auto jump off of it? As you can see, Riku can glitch out a little bit and not grab the pipe anymore. But it's usually fixable by just going back to one of the pipes and then jumping off of it again. And now the boss rush starts right here. Nightmare. Nice song, terrible fight though. Because he has a move that just drains our HP to 1. And he can combo us out of it. After that move, we have like about 1 to 2 seconds that we are stunned. And during that time, he can launch any move he wants. And he has some quick moves that will, well, defeat us if we're at 1 HP, obviously, because the second part of the fight where he has around 3.5 bars of HP, because that way I can avoid that move a lot more. Now I'm pretty much done, so I'm just spamming balloon and then done with it. Now this is the first of 5 bosses. The next one, you might know him. You might have seen him already. Around 14 hours ago is when you last saw him, I believe. Now he's back for more. But this time he's not ready for Riku actually facing him. And just throwing balloons at him. Now, you can use a reality shift in this fight to recreate the floor, but it actually the reality shift is so slow that it's not worth it. And it doesn't really give us any mileage out of it. It deals very moderate damage. It's better if we just spam Balloonra. Not being on the floor also makes it that we can spam Balloonra a little bit quicker. But he's also a little bit more dangerous. As you can see, I do have to heal now. This is also where it starts that that I can properly die. Like, even if I'm playing careful, I can get killed. But it shouldn't be happening. Best case scenario, it just doesn't happen. Now, that was the first of those 2 fights. The next one is going to be a little bit... enough so that we can defeat him now. You see, we deal a lot of damage. Just spamming triangle at this point and scrolling through our deck will get the job done. Oh, I could have just attacked him at this point, actually.
Oh yeah, something that probably wasn't mentioned earlier because we didn't really need to. This is one of the only Cage games in which if the enemy's in the middle of comboing you, you can throw out a block.
Okay, so now we have to use one more reality shift, which is the dream line that gets us to the castle that never was. The water in the woods that we know from Cage 2 for the most part. And now we're gonna fight Master Zane. There are two openings you can do. You can either teleport to the side or teleport behind you. He just stayed there, which is fine. Now there we go, there's the time stop. During that, I just used Cura to quickly heal me, wait for reality shift.
Here we go. Faster.
We'll destroy that clock, and now we wait a little bit. You can actually damage him before his HP gauge even appears, which is around now. I used that balloon run, hopefully that dealt proper damage, yep. It dealt damage before the HP gauge even was there, which is just a little bit of a speed strat, just being a little bit quicker on the attack. You can get stun locked here, which is not bad in terms of you dying, but actually just bad in terms of you not being able to spam balloon rush. Now, because he did the delayed move where his clones weren't synced up, he will continue with jumping away and using an X pattern move. He just shoots those X fire patterns at you. But it doesn't really matter to us. We just annihilate him and that's it. And now we're pretty much on for the final fight. The final fight of the run. Before that, we have one more diving section ahead of us. Now, just out of curiosity, does anyone actually know what the timer was when we started? It was something like 17.
Red team was 16 minutes exactly ahead.
I mean, like the actual time when it was, the timer was restarted.
No, I'd have to go back and take a look.
Okay, I mean it's not that important.
All I can say is you've had a really good run.
Oh, it was pretty decent. That is true. A few mistakes here and there, but up until this point, things went really well. Now, this fight can still defeat us. This is probably the most dangerous fight in the run because this enemy, Armored Ventus Nightmare, can just combo you to death. Isn't likely to happen, but he can do that. Now, I didn't use that Balloon right away, which, okay, I did stun him. If you use Balloon very early into the fight, you skip something called a White Room. He has a Black Room and a White Room. Black Room has your Dream Eaters out, but he has increased magic defense. Or defense in general. And White Room, he will be a lot more aggressive. No Dream Eaters, but he also takes proper damage. Which makes the fight pretty much faster if you're in White Room. But you do have to be able to use your stuff, of course. So if he combos you, you're not going to be able to get anything out of being in a White Room. There's one White Room that you don't want to see at all, which is where he transforms into 3 blue balls. It's not good if that happens because it's just a waste of time, but it doesn't have to happen. You really just want to spam Balloon Rest, and I think he's using it right now. Yeah, that's what you don't want to see. It is just a time waster. You flow motion around the wall, wait a little bit. then jump down again, because he will come back now. And then continue spamming. Now, I'm a little bit low on HP. A little bit very low, thank you.
Oh.
And... Okay. Kaz, I'd be very happy if you could look up what the time was, because depending on what it was, this could be 14, 27, 11. Oh, that's... Is it really 11? I hope the seconds are a little bit higher than that. Because if anything, this is at least very close to a PB. And got it. Actually, 11 would be fine. So, yeah, depending on what the time was we started at, this might have actually been a record. By a few seconds. Maybe. It all depends on what the time was. Well, maybe this was a record by a few seconds.
I split like because I got the last hit wrong, but 2 or 3 seconds off of that.
Dang. Well, yeah, that is DDD.
Alright, and then we'll just watch the rest of Zantetskin's run. You're heading into endgame yourself, aren't you?
Yep.
Yep. So Zan at this point is pretty much right in front of the Overcast grind. Run started 14.
Overcast grind. What are you talking about? So typically what I do before I even enter into World That Never Was for Riku, I just check what the situation's gonna be like. And funnily enough, I also am gonna get Overcast on both Sora and Riku. That is extremely rare, but it is something that happens. Uh-oh. Whoop. You're not supposed to fall to the ground, though.
Oh. I just double checked again. If the timer started 14:27:11 and they finished at 16:50, I think 16:32:50 flat. That is probably like, if I calculated correctly, it's a record by like 7 seconds. 2:05.
Holy.
So this terrible run has to go up against a world record run. Awesome.
You got it. Don't worry about it.
Screw you, Dessa.
Enough. Last time I joined a relay was the FF relay, and that one I did get a record in Crisis Core as well. So I don't know. Maybe I just have good relay luck.
You needed to be stopped.
Nice. That didn't even really feel like that good of a run. But yeah, we still have Zan's run. As of right now, he is going to Sora's final battle, as he didn't have to grind for Overcast. He did get the same situation as I did, with having both Overcast on Sora and Riku, meaning that he'll just be able to run through the end game now. Again, with Riku, what you have to do is you have to defeat those weird cannon light orb thingies that alter the room. What Sora has to do is he has to slice through buildings Cage 2 style. and
nowhere near as cool.
Yeah, it's not nowhere near as cool, and it's very slow, but it's still pretty neat. Oh yeah, by the way, so for those who don't know, I still have gameplay quote unquote with those questions, but the run actually ends with last on Armored Ventus Nightmare, so yeah, the run already ended.
No, you have to answer the questions.
Answer the question. I think it's free for those who want the secret ending.
I think so as well. I don't know. I haven't unlocked the secret ending in years.
I think it's free to free.
So right here, Sora actually remembers Aqua. If you want some lore behind the game, he remembers who Aqua is.
Yeah,
Right
he
here.
remembers them without actually remembering them, really. He's more like,
Yeah.
wait, what? Who are you guys?
Oh, you know, I should probably skip this opening, huh?
Take this. Yeah. Ha. Yeah. Ha. Heal. Take this.
I'm gonna read.
So we're gonna fight Xemnas nowhere near as fun as in Cage 2. Honestly, a little bit more fun than Cage 3, if we're being totally honest. I do not like Xemnas in 3.
Better.
I do not like Xemnas in 3.
Leaving?
Neil? He wants to find some guy named Neil in that game.
Oh. Oh, actually,
Oh.
I think it might have missed it by a second or two.
Oh, it's not cool anymore.
No, it's not cool anymore.
Oh, now you
I'm just kidding.
suck at the game.
You need to retime it. You need to
So
retime
if
it.
no. So I checked it. The timer started. I started my run when the time was at 14, 27, 16, and I ended my run when the timer was on 16, 32, 59 or 16.
Are you basing it off like the stream VOD though? Because there's some delay between the timer and the
I mean,
footage, I
it's
think.
my own thing, so if anything, I have to gameplay. I can submit it to Speed Demo's archive now. Nice, because I have only gameplay. But yeah, I think that's a 2:05 44 or 43, which is record by like 2 seconds. Nice.
It's okay. We got this, guys. We killed Xemnas. We're about to climb the world that never was.
Not necessarily. It depends on what the... Yeah, we have to wait until the end. The run is not over yet, and Zen doesn't have a lot more to go. It's like around 5 more minutes. The next split take... Actually, no, it's not 5. It's more like 10 more minutes, because there's still like 5 bosses ahead of him. And yeah, the time needs to be changed. At least
We'll go over all that at the end.
for the difference we had on 2 of them.
Yeah. It will all become clear at the end. Stay tuned, my friends.
When I first started learning this game, I would walk up that staircase instead of being like, you know, I can just flow motion up this wall. That'd be a lot smarter of me to do. So my end game is notoriously bad. I tend to death cycle a lot on both ABC and the dive going into Armored Ventus Nightmare.
I remember that.
There have been multiple runs in which I should have gotten a world record that I just died to that dive section.
And fun fact, that dive is pretty consistent.
Yeah, it is 100% consistent. And out of all the top runners of this game, I probably miss it the most.
Yeah.
Even though I'm the one who tells almost every single top player, oh, it's consistent.
Mm.
I remember when I first told Destin it was consistent, I was like, what? Like, yeah, he's like, how do you miss
Yeah,
it? We don't talk about that.
Listen.
No, I'm talking about it like I'm the one who figured it out.
So this run is pretty much an amalgamation of a bunch of strats. The strat to get the Bargain Flurry and buy the Ballooners after Riku's
Riku's first
called?
type of book.
Yeah, his first set of worlds. Technically, I came up with the strat for that, but it was inspired by something that a new runner to the game just like mentioned offhand. Because back when Donna was first learning this game, he picked up a bunch of extra chests to like buy something. I forget what he would buy. But a bunch of the times, like, oh, that's not necessary. And then I thought about it, I was like, wait, if we collect those, we can just buy balloons a lot earlier. And so, yeah. Thanks, Donna, for coming up with that in a way. Anyway, here's Anti-Black Coat Nightmare. Him and I have a very storied past. I die very consistently to him.
It is a crazy fight. I did lose multiple record pace runs to it as well. I think mainly in New Game Plus though. I remember having a crazy New Game Plus run that I lost to this fight, and I started step stacking to him. So this fight, it can be very scary, it can be very tough. But again, once you hit like 3.5 bars, is where you want to play a little bit cautious. Even if you're on PB pace. Because he can just run up his spear on you, and if you get hit by it, you're very likely to be dead. You're basically coin flipping the fight. If you don't double flank, you're coin flipping. If he hits it, that move just now, that whip Zan, the little spear that shot up behind Riku, if that one hits you, he drags you up, puts you to 1 HP, extracts your health, so they're all gonna be lying around as HP orbs. You can collect them, your Dream Eaters cannot collect them, but Anti-Black Coat can collect them, and he gets way more out of them. If you're unlucky, he can recharge his entire HP gauge.
Yikes.
Yeah. Also, if a balloon rod that you threw out, stray hits him, he will start throwing out attacks again. And you'll still be stuck in the animation, and he will kill you.
Yeah. Even if you're still stuck in that animation, you need to wait up that animation, where you can get hit if you're stunned in between, then drop down. After you fell down, that's like a half second later, that's when you can start moving.
Yeah. If I get hit by that, I normally just try and mash out a cure. Did you pick up the cure chest, or did you buy 2 cure items? Tessa?
He bought 2 Kiragas.
Yeah, I bought them too. I bought both of them at the top.
I hate picking up that. So the Kiraga chest, while it's nice, it saves money. There's a chance a portal can spawn right in front of the chest. Literally just dab smack right in front of it, making it near impossible to collect. It is the most annoying thing in the world.
But it makes it a little harder for sure. You do have to realize, like, oh, I'm not able to access right now. I do need to go to the side a little bit. It's weird that they placed it right in front of that. Especially because you can still access it. It's not even like they're blocking it. They're just making it obnoxious.
Also, I have 20 seconds to beat this boss or I lose Tamashii forever.
That's fine.
So, yeah, Tamashii doesn't matter. So, if your Dream Eaters get knocked out and you don't revive them in time, they turn back into Dream Materials and disappear. So, save your friends, people. Don't let them fade away out of existence forever. But there, it would have been too slow to just res Tamashii, so I just let it lie on the ground defeated.
Yep. If you beat the fight while Dream Eater is knocked out, you can just win and they respawn with half health. But again, Tamashii doesn't even matter for this point. I personally opt to go for Meow instead of Tamashii because Meow can still get you somewhere. He can still stun the enemy every now and then with a headbutt or something like that.
He casts Balloon.
He can cast Balloon, that is true. So he can actually damage the enemy. So he can cast Balloon Ga, I believe, if he's high enough level.
Yeah,
I don't know if we
he
get him
needs
to level 25, but I think we...
Yeah, you can't get him. You don't get him to level where he casts Balloon Go.
Yeah.
In this run.
But he can use it. I think he only uses Balloon and Balloon round the run. But he is better than Tamashii in the end game. He can also heal you. He can headbutt you. He can help you stun lock enemies. For example, DM skipping.
Shoutouts to the Magic Lapins if the start of the fight, young Master Xehanort, if he teleports behind you, the magic Lapins will slap him.
Yep.
And
Doesn't
stun him
matter what
instantly.
they're busy with. If
They will.
Who's behind you? They. Well, if I
Ow.
broad punch, they get an earful. Ha.
Oh no. Oh.
Oh wow, that was scary.
I shouldn't have tried for that, but you know, speed run.
Oh, that's what happened. I thought you meant the icicles that hit you. Those
No,
are
that's
really
why.
scary.
That's why I said ow.
Dude, I would have loved if you'd have failed, I could have made a joke about it. Like, just rewind time or something like that. Just being
It's rewind.
yeah. Or even
Ah,
better,
that's
it's
hot.
rewind time.
Remind time. Let's add remind to this. It's really free.
But yeah, Zen is actually getting the exact same pattern I got. He got bullied about as bad as I did. That fight too.
I got hit by the X's.
Yeah, I mean,
got-
same here. I got hit by X's, I got hit by laser blades, I got hit by a lot of stuff.
I have actually died on Young Master Xehanort in a run because I just refused to heal and then he comboed me to death.
Same.
It's
Only once on beginner, but mainly on proud or so. Because I did actually end up running standard and proud before. Critical and level 1 are likely to run eventually as well.
alright, say it with me, friends. This is consistent.
This is.
I
consistent.
should not be fucking up here.
Don't
Screwing up, my apologies.
Don't mess it up.
Yeah.
I am so scared of messing it up.
You got this. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I only need 2 more stars. Oh, it's free. It's consistent. The only RNG part of this is these Shadow Soras, but like the locations of all these Sora clones are consistent. They're the same every single time you do this diving section.
Sir, are you gonna answer that question or not?
Which question?
What about the secret battle?
What do you mean, which question?
Julius is.
Julius. Oh yeah, Julius can be cheese in a lot of ways. Riku can be abused to just. You can spam Faraga burst if you have something. Just be higher than Julius and spam it and spam it and spam it until you hit. Or if you know how to do it, you can also use Balloon to stun lock him. You can use Balloon Guard to stun lock him. You can spam Balloon Ross. You can also.
Actually, I was talking about the question on your game screen. That's been sitting there.
Oh,
for the
that
past
question.
10 minutes.
No.
What are you afraid of?
What am I?
Know what to pick.
I'm not afraid of anything.
I'm not gonna. Okay, what did I pick? Oh. Oh no, he just came.
You run on Japanese.
No.
So the Japanese, there's one small difference between the English version and the Japanese version. This attack that he's doing, that Armored Mantis Nightmare is doing right here, he starts charging immediately in JP, but in English he waits there for a second. I have no idea why.
Yep, no idea why. It takes like 5 to 7 seconds to run Japanese, but honestly, like I am able to read Japanese,
And
but especially
done.
during the first time, I'll likely lose more time reading.
oh, how far behind Desta was I? 60 minutes? 100 minutes?
Nope.
A year?
Nope, because we have to add in extra time.
Yeah.
All right. So it's time. So blue team ended with an actual final time of 16:48:59. And the red team ended with 16:51:23. It was only a 2.5 minute divide.
Woo! My blue zero didn't ruin it. My Blue Zero escapade. But yeah, that means the blue team
I'll
won.
find you, Sora.
Woohoo!
Yeah, this run was really awful on my part. Apologies to the other Seekers of Darkness. I dropped the ball on this one.
Hey, there's always the next time.
Yep, there's
No,
always
there
the
is
next
no
relay.
there is no next time.
Yep. We're doing
How
this
do we
again
talk
next
about-
weekend.
I'm,
Same time, same place, same runners.
I'm
In like 2.5
I-
days, something's gonna happen. Something similar.
I'm actually
Include days and recode it. Hashtag
this is actually the last time I'm gonna be doing the DDD speedrun.
Ooh.
I don't want to do it anymore. It's so awful. So you'd have to find someone else to
I will
hold
find.
down the DDD for it.
I'll find people. The game's gonna release on
Roxas?
PC. I think a lot more people will
What is it that you're so afraid of?
just see the series and be able to run it. Maybe we get a few more DDD runners as well. I'm very hopeful. Maybe a little bit too optimistic, but maybe. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this is not going to be the last time we do a relay race. If anything, this is the start of something
Losing something.
really big. We haven't done those
That's
events
important.
in ages. I think the last time a big relay race happened was in 2017, 2018. Which that one actually recoded. I know some older community people like Accents and all joined for that as
Roxas?
well.
No.
Yeah, like now that
Wait.
we got
What is
this
the one
one
thing you
done,
care
and I
about
think it
more
was
than
a
anything
really
else?
good relay race despite the difficulties. We found ways to go around it. We didn't just, well, moan about them all the time. We just moved on.
My close
I
friends.
think it was pretty successful. And I'm
Oh, yeah.
very
What is going
agree.
on?
much looking forward to maybe seeing more of those in the future.
Sora.
Maybe being part of those more in the future. Having a lot of other people in here, maybe other runs as well. We can show all kinds of variations. It doesn't even need to be any percent only. We can even go out of our way, go for a few different categories of people.
Platinum trophy.
We can do anything we want with it, basically.
Riku.
Not
What do
making
you
many
wish?
promises. I don't want to
More
make any promises,
questions?
though. Of course, we will need to have people actually doing this.
But yeah, that was like one of the biggest reasons we wanted to set this up, is just to like reinvigorate the community, the Kingdom Hearts speedrunning.
Yep.
It's
wish-
the scene's definitely been dying down
Hmm.
over the past like year or so, and we just want to do something to bring everybody together,
Get back
show
to the
everybody
real
that Kingdom
world.
Hearts speedrunning is
Protect
still a
my
lot of
friends.
fun, and we timed it pretty well with the release of PC. And I don't remember when we initially like planned this idea and got this rolling. I don't think the PC release was announced yet.
Nope.
So it's actually really cool that we were able to time this 3 days before the PC release.
Yeah.
So
Still
we're
trying to
really
figure
hoping
out
that
how you
like,
talked me into this.
but yeah, we're hoping like this and also the PC release will just get a lot more people interested in Kingdom Hearts speedrunning. Maybe bring back some old veterans. Whole shebang. Yeah, really fun relay.
From IBA as well, he says, I love it. I love being part of the community. I'm very glad to hear that. Because again, as far said, the community it's been dying down a little bit, and getting back into the swing of things just by having those kind of events, by putting it out on a stage like RPG Limit Break, for example, we just are able to put out to the world that, hey, our community is still there. We're still a big, good, well-functioning community. We're having fun here. We're doing fun runs. We're having good runs. We're having really good runners, really optimized runs. All kinds of variety as well. Basically,
Bringing back old runners. Bringing back old runners as well.
Exactly. We're bringing back old runners. Like, how long has it been since you ran Kingdom Hearts? It's been a while.
So, yeah, it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's been 4 years since I've last ran Terra.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
I'm a grandpa.
Yeah. That, like, last time you ran Terra, I wasn't even running Kingdom Hearts yet. Yeah. And I think you wouldn't even have jumped in if not for Wyatt dropping out, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is very
Oh, yeah,
true.
Casa,
the overlay and disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah, big shout out to Casa for he helped out tremendously in a lot of ways. Like towards the end of this planning stage, he came in, actually secured us his spot on RPG Limit Break, and we're very thankful for that. Made the overlay for us, filled in for one of our runners who had to drop out close to the last minute due to a real life obligation, and refreshed himself on Terra Beginner. Ran that in the relay for us, as well as Dessa filling in for somebody else who also dropped. Dessa ran 2 runs in this relay for our team. If you guys didn't catch his Recom Riku run earlier. In all honesty, Dessa could be a team in his own. He knows how to speedrun every game in this series. And I hope you don't mind if I plug you here, Dessa.
I'm gonna do it. If you guys put me into one team, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna run against all of you.
Run the gauntlet.
I hope you don't mind if I plug you here, Dessa, but I believe Dessa will be doing an entire series run on PC release. Is that still happening?
Well, yeah, sure. I can quickly go about it. So in 2.5 days, it's likely going to release in my time zone. With Epic Games, as far as I know, it'll release like 5 p.m. my time usually. And I planned, like outside of this relay, just by myself, for the PC release to celebrate a little bit, just running through all the games again. Because I've done in the past, just running all the Cage games back to back to back. And yeah, on March 30th, I'm gonna be repeating that, but on the PC, I'm basically gonna purchase the games, download them right away, and without even really looking at the ports, just giving it a whirl right away. See if there's any differences. Just right away, go for some runs, and have like a 30-hour endeavor of like 13 runs, because I did make it with a donation incentive and all, and people were actually putting up enough so that I would even be able to do a Melody of Memories playthrough right after that. So it's going to be the entire series in chronological order. As it's going to be myself, I can basically choose the order. So yeah, the chronological order from Birth by Sleep to Cage 3, including the Remind story. And then follow up with a Melody of Memories playthrough. If you guys are interested in that, to quickly close it out here. 5 p.m. European time or 1 p.m. I think East Coast. March 30th.
Yeah, that'll be pretty cool. We should probably close up here, get RPG Limit Break their channel back soon. But Casa, Xanta, if you guys have any closing remarks you want to make.
I just want to say that I'm glad that the Kingdom Hearts community is still as close-knit as they used to be. I've been gone for a while, so it was nice to come back, work with a bunch of some, older people and newer people, and really see what the community can put together.
Well, is my game still showing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Question.
Good fight, by the way.
Give me a second. Just give me a second. Hold on. Hold on.
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, I see what you're doing.
So, for those of you who don't know about break time in DDD, and dab. Oh, he didn't do the dab. What?
Go for Eagle Gliders, or what they're called. So
I need E-gliders in my party.
Attack haste. For attack haste. Because it takes ages to recharge. I think E-gliders...
I don't think I have them with the attack haste, though.
Just something that has attack haste. You'll have something. You can toggle info and see what has attack haste. You'd have to actually have it unlocked, by the way. Halberd, I guess. Charge a little pack, but yeah. Come on, Sora. Don't let us down.
You better do the dab this time, Sora.
Showing off a few cool abilities. Ars Arcanum is a really cool ability in this game. I love it, but it's weird how open you are.
He didn't do it! I hate this. Oh, whatever.
You still get a dancing Sora.
Yeah, I still gotta see him strike a pose. I don't know why he didn't dab. That's like the best part of break time in this game.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to end the stream by rating a Kingdom Hearts community member. His name is Asa. He's one of the longest standing community members and was one of the main people who created some of the first marathons and was one of the biggest, what's the word? One of the biggest
Pioneers?
No, I'm trying to think of the word and I don't have it. Contributors to the first relay, because he made a whole bunch towards it and even got me involved by helping me get my start with overlays and such for the first one. So let's all head on over there and give him lots of love. So I'm just gonna hit that right button and let's get ready.
Woo!
Righty.
Right.
Thanks again, guys. It was a ton of fun. Glad you guys all enjoyed it.
Oh, I'm very glad to be able to be a part of this, both as like at least a little bit more in the background of an organizer with balancing the teams, and as a runner as well. It was very fun. It was very exciting, and again, I'm in for more, even as an O team.
Yeah. All right, everybody, let's say goodbye. Bye.